All right, listeners, gather round. You guys have sent in some really, really interesting stuff this time.
Yeah, this one is a doozy.
A death at Blackwood Manor.
And not just any death.
No. We're talking a classic locked room mystery.
Ooh, always a good one, those. The intriguing part for me is that, well, the fact that it's Blackwood Manor.
Right. A place steeped in secrets.
Like the house itself is a character, you know what I mean?
Totally.
Yeah.
With its own, shadowy past. Okay, so the victim is, who is it again?
Sir Edward Blackwood.
Sir Edward Blackwood.
Yeah.
And he was poisoned with cyanide.
Classic.
Partite.
And the suspect list is limited, right? Everyone present at the manor that night is under suspicion.
Automatically.
Yeah.
So we've got our fictional detective on the case, Eleanor Blake, is it?
Eleanor Blake, that's right.
And you know what? I think we can solve this thing right alongside her, as we always do. What do you say?
I'm in. Let's get into the clues. The first thing that jumps out at me is that, well, they found a half-empty glass of wine near the body.
Yeah, and I caught that little detail about the scent of almonds, a little bit of cyanide.
Cyanide, yep.
But here's the thing. The only fingerprints on the glass were Sir Edward's.
That is very interesting.
So was it suicide disguised as murder? I mean, or did someone manage to poison him without leaving a trace?
A real head-scratcher.
Okay, so clue number 1, the poisoned glass. What else have we got?
Well, there's this letter. It's addressed to the family, but it's menacing. It says, one of you will regret this.
Ooh.
But, and this is key, the ink is smudged. Someone tried to get rid of it.
Woo, okay.
Looks like he might have suspected something was up within his own family.
Family drama.
Always.
Okay, all right.
And then there's the unlocked servant's entrance leading to this study. The butler, now he claims to have locked it, but it was found open.
Okay, so we can't rule out an intruder just yet.
Nope. Someone could have snuck in, done the deed, and then just slipped out unnoticed.
A whole new set of possibilities.
Totally. And finally, we have the stopped clock. It was in the study, frozen at 10:15 p.m., possibly the moment he collapsed.
Okay, so let me get this straight. We've got a poisoned victim, a threatening letter, an unlocked door, a stopped clock, and everyone in the house is a suspect.
It really is like a game of Clue, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah.
All right, so let's meet these suspects. First up, the wife.
Mrs. Margaret Blackwood, Sir Edward's second wife.
Second wife, okay.
And there were some disagreements
Okay.
over finances. Money was a bit tight.
Okay, so money troubles, potential inheritance.
Motive number 1,
All right, next up.
Henry Blackwood, the son from Sir Edward's first marriage.
Because son, okay.
Yeah. The source material mentions a strained relationship, even suggests that he was, well, cut out of the will.
Ouch, family feuds.
Especially when money's involved.
It can get messy.
Yep.
Okay, who else?
Then we have Emma Blackwood,
The daughter.
the daughter. Now, while she was seemingly close to her father, the source material hints at resentment. He was a controlling guy.
The rebellious child archetype.
It's a classic. And then there's Mr. Finch, the butler.
Okay, the loyal butler.
Loyal, sure, but he'd been serving the family for decades. However, there's a twist. He was recently caught stealing.
A butler with a secret. Interesting. So did he maybe poison Sir Edward to cover his tracks? I mean, it's possible.
It's definitely a possibility. And last but not least, we have Dr. Lydia Hart, the family doctor.
The family doctor, of course.
She treated Sir Edward for an ailment, some sort of ailment, doesn't say what, and she was the last one to see him alive.
So we've got our cast of characters, each with their own secrets and motives, potentially. Now the question is, can we piece together their alibis with the evidence to unmask the killer?
That's the challenge.
All right, let's dive into these alibis, starting with Mrs. Blackwood. What was she up to while her husband was meeting his demise?
Well, she says she was reading alone in the drawing room all evening.
Alone all evening.
No one else can confirm that.
An alibi that's hard to verify. Okay. What about Henry? Any chance he snuck out for a late night chat with dear old dad?
Well, he admits to arguing with his father earlier that evening, but he says he went to bed afterward.
Right, but arguments can escalate.
And he definitely had a motive, as we discussed.
Let's not rule him out just yet. What about Emma?
She stated that she visited her father in his study around 10 p.m. to talk, but she left because he seemed upset.
So she places herself at the scene of the crime shortly before his likely time of death. Interesting. What about Mr. Finch? Where was he?
Mr. Finch, our butler with a secret, he claims that he checked all the doors at 9:30. including that servant's entrance. Found them all locked.
But that servant's entrance was unlocked, right, when they got there?
It was indeed. So either Mr. Finch isn't telling the truth or someone unlocked it later. It seems like some of the details just don't quite add up. And lastly, we have Dr. Hart.
Right.
She claims she left at 10 p.m. after, checking on Sir Edward.
So both Emma and Dr. Hart were at the scene of the crime around the time of death.
It would appear so.
We've got motives, we've got alibis, and we have some really intriguing clues.
It's all coming together.
Now let's see if we can put the pieces together. All right, so let's dive a little deeper into this. We've got a locked room, a whole bunch of suspects, each with their own, secrets and questionable alibis. Where do we even start with this?
That's the fun part. It's like a puzzle. You have to examine every little thing, every inconsistency. Think like a detective.
Okay, so detective mode activated. Let's start with the threatening letter. It says, "One of you will regret this." That's creepy, right? And it definitely sounds like Sir Edward knew someone was out to get him. But who? And why send it to the whole family?
Good question. Addressing it to everyone implies he suspected someone in his inner circle. But maybe he couldn't be sure exactly who.
Oh, so he knew something was off, like a bad feeling. But he couldn't quite put his finger on it. And then the ink is all smudged. What does that tell us?
Well, it looks like whoever was writing it got interrupted.
Right.
Maybe by Sir Edward himself.
Yeah.
Like, what if he was in the middle of writing it when his killer came in? Or maybe the killer tried to, destroy the letter afterward.
To hide the evidence.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Either way, definitely something fishy going on at Blackwood Manor.
Okay. So we've got a death, a letter, and then there's that whole thing with the poisoned glass. Only his fingerprints, though, right?
Right.
Does that mean we can rule out, someone else poisoning him?
Well, not so fast.
Yeah.
Remember, this is a classic mystery.
Yeah.
Right? They could be trying to mislead us. The killer might have worn gloves or, wiped the glass clean afterward.
A red herring.
Classic.
So it could be like a deliberate attempt to make us think it was suicide when it was actually murder.
Exactly. You have to keep all the possibilities open.
Okay. I'm starting to see how these locked room mysteries work. You really can't take anything for granted.
Nope. Got to question everything. What about that unlocked door? The servant's entrance?
Yeah, small detail. Could it be important, though?
It could be very important. If the butler is telling the truth about locking it up tight, someone would have to unlock it later.
Which means, they could have gone in, poisoned Sir Edward, and gotten out without anyone seeing them.
Exactly. And that would explain why there were no fingerprints on the glass.
Oh, that makes sense. It also makes me think about Mr. Finch a little more suspiciously. He was stealing, remember? Maybe he was trying to keep Sir Edward quiet, or maybe he, left the door unlocked on purpose, trying to frame someone else.
Mr. Finch is definitely suspicious.
Okay, so we've got the letter, the poisoned glass, and the unlocked door. Now let's talk about that stopped clock. Frozen at 10:15. Does that tell us for sure when Sir Edward died?
Well, possibly. But it could also be, another one of those red herrings. The killer could have messed with it to throw everyone off.
Mm-hmm.
Or what if, hear me out, what if Sir Edward knocked it over himself? Like during a fight with the killer.
That's interesting. So it wouldn't be intentional, but more like a clue about what happened when he was attacked.
Right. And then we have to ask, what does that tell us about his mindset? Did he know who was attacking him?
It all goes back to that letter, doesn't it? Maybe he was writing it when the killer walked in and he saw who it was.
It's all connected.
This is getting good.
And then we've got all those alibis, right? None of them are, very solid.
Right. Like Mrs. Blackwood reading alone in the drawing room all night.
No one to back up her story. It's her word against nothing.
And she could have easily snuck out, done what she needed to do and gone right back to her book.
Exactly. And Henry admits to the argument, but says he went straight to bed.
Arguments can escalate, though, and we know things weren't good between them.
Especially with that whole inheritance situation.
Totally. Then there's Emma. She was in the study right before he died.
She was there, but she claims he was upset and she left.
Do we believe her, though?
Maybe, maybe not. She definitely had the opportunity. The question is, why would she do it? I mean, we know about her dad's controlling behavior.
But is that enough to push someone to murder?
Maybe. Sometimes things run deeper than they appear on the surface. We need to, dig a little deeper into Emma's story, figure out what was really going on with her and her father.
Yeah, you're right. It's easy to focus on the surface, but we need to go beyond that. Understand their motivations. Okay, so let's start with Emma. What else do we know about her?
All right. So we've gone over all the clues and all the alibis and, tried to poke some holes in their stories. What happened? Did Detective Blake solve this thing?
She did. And it might surprise you.
Oh. Lay it on me.
It was Emma Blackwood.
Emma, really? The daughter. Wow. I was so caught up in all the money stuff with the wife and the son that I totally didn't even think about her. But now that you say it, she was there in the study, right?
Exactly. And the author, they did drop some little hints here and there, pointing to Emma, but they were very subtle, very easy to miss. It's like they wanted to distract us with all those, those more obvious motives.
A classic misdirection.
No, yeah. Okay, so I'm curious. What was her motive? She resented her dad, but that doesn't exactly make her a killer, does it? And how did she even do it?
Well, she really wanted to be free, to make her own choices. It seems like her dad's controlling ways really got to her.
So it wasn't just a, normal teenager being a teenager kind of thing?
No, it was more than that. She felt trapped, and I guess she felt like this was the only way out.
To, escape her life? Wow, that's intense. But she went about it pretty cleverly, didn't she?
Oh, for sure. She went to visit her dad in the study, right? Like, they were having a normal conversation, and that's when she poisoned him.
Oh, so it was like the perfect cover. Everyone thought it was just a friendly visit, but it gave her the opportunity. Nobody suspected a thing.
Nobody. And remember that glass? With only his fingerprints, it all pointed to suicide. Or maybe even an intruder.
She really planned this out, huh? Kind of scary how she was able to manipulate everything. What about the clock? We talked about how it might have been knocked over during a fight, and it turns out that's exactly what happened, didn't it?
It did. Sir Edward, he was, collapsing from the poison.
Mm-hmm.
And he hit the clock. That's what stopped it.
So it wasn't part of her plan, just a coincidence, an accident, but it definitely added to the confusion, didn't it?
It sure did. And then that unlocked door.
Right. What about that?
Turns out the butler, he was telling the truth. He'd locked it.
So no intruder after all.
Nope. Emma was the only one who could have done it.
She played everyone, didn't she?
She did. But Detective Blake, she figured it out. And we did too, right?
He did. Man, this case has been wild. I really thought I had it figured out a couple of times, but I have to admit the author really got me with those twists and turns. And it just shows you really can't judge a book by its cover. Gotta look beyond what you see on the surface. Think about why people do things.
Couldn't agree more. You have to be observant, logical, and sometimes you got to think outside the box. That's what makes these mysteries so much fun.
So we explored a classic locked room mystery, untangled a web of lies, and learned that sometimes the quietest ones have the biggest secrets.
They sure do.
It's been another great deep dive.
Absolutely.
As always, we encourage you, our listeners, to think back on all of this. What do you think? Did you see it coming, or did Emma pull a fast one on you too?
Sometimes the best mysteries are the ones that, they make you think, even after it's all over.
They make you wonder. And maybe, just maybe, they'll inspire you to go out there and find some mysteries of your own.
Happy sleuthing, everyone.
Until next time.